Hey everyone, welcome to On Our Days Off, where we are having conversations, making space, and figuring it out. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the power in and learning to say no, and how that is a form of setting boundaries. I know saying no is something that I used to struggle with. It's something I've definitely gotten better at, but I continue to work on. I don't know if you all can relate, but sometimes saying no can be hard. We welcome you to join the conversation. Here it is. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to On Our Days Off. I am your host, Jordana. This is my co-host, partner, husband, and best friend, Ed.
What up, though?
Welcome back to the pod. For those of you watching and listening, thank you for being here. If this is your first time joining us, you can catch our content on our YouTube page or on listening platforms every other Friday. We will be here with you having conversations.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining the conversation.
Yes, thank you for joining the conversation.
Appreciate it.
On one of our previous episodes, what's up?
No, I was just going to say, so what are we talking about today?
Okay. So on one of our previous episodes, it was our episode that we did with my twin sister and I. It was about friendship.
My evil twin sister.
My evil twin sister. We kind of touched on it briefly, but I thought it was a good topic to have as a discussion for a pod. We kind of talked about the power of saying no and when you start to learn to feel comfortable saying no, like coming into that.
Yeah. See, look, this is a tough thing for me because it's still not something that I am like comfortable with by any means. I enjoy seeing people happy, and no doesn't always make people happy. So I think this is a good conversation to have for today.
Yeah, it's interesting because why do we attach making people happy to saying no, though? Like, why does saying no make you be concerned about other people's happiness?
I mean, think about when you tell somebody no, usually, you see like the disappointment in the face sometimes. And nobody, I personally don't like that feeling. You know what I mean? You don't want to make anybody sad. You don't want to, you don't want to see anybody hurt. And no hurts people's feelings sometimes. You know what I mean? Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but also it's like, I feel like no also protects our boundaries and our mental health.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just can't be worried about how someone's going to feel because you said no. If someone gets upset that you said no, I mean, that's kind of none of your business.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree.
But I can relate to what you're saying because I definitely used to feel that way for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely used to feel that way. But I think you just have to we just have to start shifting the conversation around no, because no is a form of setting boundaries.
No is definitely like it's a selfish thing. You know what I mean? Like you say no for self. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but also it can be considered selfish or it can just be considered self-care. I feel like no is just a form of self-care. If that's considered selfish or if you consider it selfish, I mean, well, sometimes being selfish is good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the definition of you have to take care of self. It's about self. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do. What are some things that you think you can do better at saying no at as a form of self-care?
Girl, see, look, what I said at the beginning of the episode, pretty much it's the thing that like, I'm working on myself right now with is learning how to say no. So to answer your question, probably everything. You know what I mean? Yeah, just pretty much anything. But the thing I definitely struggle with saying no to, or who I struggle saying no to, is family. I don't really have problems telling friends no. I don't really have problems telling my wife no. I tell you no all the time. But yeah, it's just like family, like grandma, mom. Those are the people I have trouble saying no to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on. I mean, I think I understand what you're saying. I definitely have been in that space before with family and friends. I think we probably all have been there because it's like a lot of time it's like, oh, this is my family or this is a close friend and I would just do anything for them. But really,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have that attitude towards anyone.
Well, growing up
Yeah.
where we're growing up, where we grew up and where we were raised, which is Pittsburgh, you're told family's everything. You just do anything for family and, family first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like that, I think, with a lot of cultures and all over
Yeah, for sure.
in
But
different communities.
I'm just putting it specifically in Pittsburgh because I felt like that's when it was kind of more or less instilled in me.
Oh,
In California, it's much more individual driven. You know what I mean? Like, not saying family isn't important, but people, or what I've came across out here, is people really do want you to kind of like self pursue. You know what I mean?
it's
Do what makes
competitive
you
out here.
happy. Yeah, and do what makes you happy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's much more of an individual approach. But growing up in Pittsburgh, you know, it's kind of instilled in you because it's more representative of like, a southern bringing up. You know what I mean? Family is so close in Pittsburgh that it's tough to say no to them. It really is.
Yeah, I think that we have to be careful because we definitely were raised like that. A lot of
Yeah,
people, like I
for
said,
sure.
were raised like that though, just across communities, across the country, across the world, that family is first. But
I'm
um
not saying that's a bad thing either. You
yeah,
know what
and
I
it's
mean?
yeah,
Balance,
yeah.
balance. Hmm.
And yeah, and it's not a bad thing. Like my circle is very important to me. My family and my friends,
Absolutely.
absolutely, they matter to me. But I think there needs to be a boundary there because to speak to what you had to what you said, sometimes people take that for granted and they think, oh, well, yeah, she'll do this for me because this is my relative, or she'll do this because this
Hmm.
is like a really close friend of mine. But
Yeah,
some people start to abuse that. And
absolutely.
I know I have not even, I don't think, realized people were abusing my yes.
Hmm.
Until you start to get like really frustrated and it starts taking a toll on you and you might start feeling stressed out. But it's like, well, if I say yes all the time, of course they're going to call and ask me for it because
Absolutely.
I always say
Why would
yes.
they? Why would they not? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
It really is one of the toughest things in life to balance. I'm big on balance. You have to have that balance because if you say no too much, too many times, then you have nobody around you. You know what I mean? So you do have to find that balance. You can know yourself into loneliness. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, with anything in life, it's the balance. I feel like personally, you know.
Right. But also I think like why would someone get upset with you saying no? I think that's a question that we have to ask too. Like you said no because I won't, come spend time or give you a ride or let you borrow money. Like for these all these little things that sometimes people get upset about when you say no, when it's like, well, that person doesn't have to do that stuff for you. They may have done it in the past, but if they change their mind and choose that, actually that's something that I think I want to start keeping more for myself, they're allowed to do that. So I think we have to consider, why are people getting mad when others say no?
I'm just going to speak from personal experience. I know. I mean, clearly, I've been upset when people told me no, and
Oh,
the
me too.
disappointment usually comes from I'm gonna ask this person, and you make plans for it. You know what I mean? You're like,
Yes, you make
oh, you start
plans.
making
Mm-hmm.
plans, and then you hit that note, and you're like, oh, I have to change everything. You're frustrated. I don't know if you're necessarily frustrated with the person as much as just the situation of no, but yeah, you start making, well, at least for me, I start making plans. I'm like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And, you get told no, and then you're like, man,
Yeah, it's like,
you know?
man, I really was counting on them saying yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, I
Yeah,
mean, that's kind of honestly on the person. You can't ask somebody something with the expectation of yes. You're setting yourself up
exactly.
for ultimate disappointment. You know what I mean? Or possible
Exactly.
disappointment, I should say.
Yeah, I definitely have done that for sure.
Yeah, we all have, man.
Yeah. And then you're like so pissed off or irritated when they say no. You're like, dang, man.
Mhm. I've been
But
planning this for 2 weeks.
but you know what I was gonna say was we kind of touched on it a little bit, like I said in a previous episode, but I think that you start to grow out of that as you get older because I
Oh
know
yeah.
for me, just speaking from my experience, when I was starting to realize, like, man, people are taking advantage of my yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I slowly started feeling comfortable saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, to whomever was like hitting my phone asking me to do whatever. And to kind of fast forward, a couple people are just now blocked in my phone because I'm just like, I don't even want you in my life anymore, in my circle, because every time you hit me, you're wanting something from me, but that's not reciprocated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's a part of it. It's not like, you know, I think it's important to have things reciprocated in relationships and friendships. But if you are always the one who is giving, I
Yeah.
think that takes a toll on you, whether it's of your time or your money or your resources, your advice, just whatever. People get tired of always being leaned on by people who really don't reciprocate the feeling. And there
Mhm.
were just some relationships in my life where I was just like, I don't really get anything from this person, like ever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't call them for advice. I wouldn't call them really for anything in an emergent situation.
Mhm.
Um, and you just start to feel like, what am I in this friendship or relationship for? It just doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
I don't feel good when I tell them yes. I'm starting to feel drained when I tell them yes, actually.
I think the touch on part of what you were saying, because what you're saying is fact. I mean, you do just get tired of being the one side of the yes all the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like something that I've always adopted, and I've always lived by, is giving without intention. You know, you give without the intention of receiving. You
Yeah.
know, equal or lesser exchange. You know, you just give because that's what you want to do. You know,
Right.
just to touch on that little part. But go ahead.
No, I agree with what you're saying. You should give without wanting something back.
You should give
You
without ever
should.
wanting something back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should always give without. I agree with what you're saying, but I also feel like if you're starting to feel like I don't want anything back, but I also don't want to feel drained either.
Yeah. And that's
So,
where, you know, the personal responsibility kicks in, where you have to start saying no. Because
yes,
now you're just making yourself mad by not saying no. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So there does need to be some personal, you know, the selfish part that I was talking about, the selfish personal responsibility of enacting the no. If it's
Right.
becoming devastating to you, why keep doing it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I was just starting to feel stressed out and I was starting to complain about a friendship that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I'm never getting anything from this person ever.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, not that I wanted something from them, but you just get tired of constantly, the person feels like they can just call your phone and ask you for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like, yeah, like this person has my number and they feel that no matter what they need, they can call me for anything. And I do have people like that in my life who absolutely can call me and ask me for
Yeah.
anything.
Same Z's.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for those people because I know those people I can also call and ask them for anything too. But it's the
Mm-hmm.
fact that
It's that part.
if you need it, it's not
Mm-hmm.
that they're calling me or I'm calling them just because I know, oh, they'll say yeah. So I can just, I'll just have them take care of it.
Uh, I know what I said earlier is like you should give without the intention of receiving, but also like I 100% agree with you on it cannot be one-sided.
Yeah.
Like it just can't. It can't be. Something needs to be reciprocated, you know, at some point, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Cause then you just start to resent that person or that
Absolutely.
relationship. And then it's like you're mad at them and they don't even know why you're mad at them. You're just mad. And they're like, I don't even know what's going on.
Where I would think I went too far is, you know, to in order to combat that, I'm just like, I'm saying no to everybody. Which again is not the best thing to do. You know what I mean? You still balance, you know,
Yeah,
balance with everything.
exactly. I think some
But you
things that
always get my yes, baby.
I know. Well, yeah. But I don't abuse your yeses though.
No, you don't.
I don't just say, oh yeah, he's gonna say yes because he's my husband or my partner. Even though you say yes to me most of the time, but
I do.
I'm not abusing your yes. So, but
Uh,
I think some things that when I was just preparing for this episode, Like some things that I think that we don't think about saying no to, especially because of the space that we're entering. I think sometimes we need to say no to like social media because I
That's
feel like,
tough.
yeah, no, because, I feel like no is a form of setting boundaries, but also I
Mhm.
feel like boundaries don't have to be permanent. Like
Oh, well,
you
yeah.
can have a boundary because I know I used to be
We
a
all
person like,
change.
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to be a person like that where I'm like, I said no and like that's it. But then it's like, well, I sometimes I want to change my mind though.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I still feel like we have to apply that to social media because it's like sometimes you need a break from social media. There's so many things happening in the world. Even though I'm thankful for social media, it helps me to stay connected to family, friends, and up to date on things happening in the world. But sometimes it's like you need to just say no. Even like no to like a friend request from someone you really don't even like, or they don't like you. Because sometimes people just want to be your friend to be in your business.
Yeah, they just want to look. Mhm.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, yeah, I definitely know what you mean. You said say no. See, look, that's the part I said that I'm having trouble balancing because where we're out right now, full blown honesty, is just like we're trying to grow this brand, and social media is a part of that. So, like, you're absolutely right where you need a break from social media, but like in this point that we're at, it's quite impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're on social media more than ever. And we're not really social media people. I mean, we still don't even really post a lot as much as we probably should, but
Yeah, and we're going to work on that and start posting more. That is something that we need to do more of.
I want to
But
see
I'm
our
just
faces more.
but I just mean like for the sake
Mental health. Just
of like yeah, your mental health and your mental well-being. Like there are
mhm.
times where we're like here at home and I'm like I'm going to put my phone in the room for the rest of the night and I'm just not on my phone.
Yeah. Well,
So I
you
feel
more
like
so than me for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, let's not
So
lie and say it's both of us. It's really you. I be
it's
up on
me.
that social media, girl.
Yeah, it's me. And I'm on my social media too, but there are days where I'm like, I just am not going to be on my phone right now. I'll check it right before bed. If there's anything that I need to respond to that's pertinent, I'll respond to or text back. But I think you do need to say no and set boundaries and take breaks, but also know that like those things don't have to be permanent.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
As far as the social media part is concerned, I feel like I just hit this numbness with social media. Like nothing, I'm not gonna say it doesn't affect me, but like I see stuff and I'm just like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. You do have to be like that with some stuff you see. You
Yeah,
can't, yeah,
really
you
do,
cannot,
man.
some stuff has to come in and go right out. Like,
It's that balance,
yeah.
it's just really all about that balance. Intake what's positive and know whatever's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
There's this law that they just passed in I think it's in let me pull it up here. It is in Ontario, uh
California
in
or
in,
Canada?
in Canada.
Okay.
Ontario, yeah, Canada. This law is called the right to disconnect. I'm just going to
Mm,
read it straight from this article. The right to disconnect provision takes effect June 2nd, 2022. Ontario is now the first jurisdiction in Canada to establish policies that prioritize workers' mental health along with a healthier work life balance. This is a symbolic shift towards employee well being, especially to prevent employees from being reachable 24/7.
mm,
Um, and I was like, yes, I like this. Let me read more.
mm.
So the
Why
employee
people
friendly,
answer for why people answer the phone for their employer when they're at home? I never understood that.
yeah,
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It says here the employee friendly amendment will require employers in Ontario with 25 or more employees to have a written policy giving workers the right to disconnect from their job at the end of their workday. Bill 27, the Working for Workers Act 2021, defines disconnecting from work as not engaging in work related communications, including emails, telephone calls, video calls, and sending and reviewing messages to be free from the performance of work.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. It goes on and talks about it more, but
Yeah.
I just thought, wow. First of all, I love that law, but second of all, it's the fact that we even need to pass a law like that
See,
because
look,
people
that's where
feel
I
the need to
question.
respond to work after hours.
Yeah, but that's where I be talking about like personal responsibility. Just because somebody's doing something don't mean you gotta go along with it. You know what I mean? I feel like if your boss is calling you when you check out, just don't answer the phone. Like, why? You're off. You're home. Don't answer the phone. There's nothing they can do unless you're on call, unless your job demands you to be on call. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But like, just don't answer the phone. People, I mean, I get why people feel pressured to be like ultra present at work all the time, and work is their life, and I get it. You know, you love that money, but like, bro, when you're at home, just be at home. Work will be there in the morning. It ain't going nowhere. Whatever your boss is calling you for, it'll be there in the morning. It's okay.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, but it's like how you said though, how you said you have a hard time saying no. People just feel pressured that, well, it's work. Like they're reaching out, I should respond. What if it's something important? What if it's this? What if it's that? Like I definitely, if work calls me, and I'm even a part of this group of people that I'm a part of this group of people that if they call me, most of the time I call work back
yeah.
just to make
Uh,
sure it's not anything pressing.
drives me crazy when you do that. I'm like, why
Yeah.
are you like? There's nothing like, and I honestly get it for for you as well. You know, for what you do for work. I don't know if you want to talk about that right now, but what you do for work, I definitely understand for you.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, when you got just like a traditional 9 to 5, and your boss is calling you at 5:30, yeah, like just do not disturb it. Your
Like
mental health
goodbye.
is way more important. Yeah, but yeah, it
Absolutely.
is really crazy that we had to pass the law for it,
Yeah, that's
or
crazy.
not we, Canada, because
Yeah.
America would never.
Yeah, I don't know if America would ever pass a law like that. I mean, I'm not. If they did,
I don't think we would, man.
I would be surprised.
I would be very surprised. Yes.
Do you think sometimes people have a hard time saying no? Because sometimes people just have a hard time being honest about how they really feel. It's like, no is how I really feel, but the reason why I feel like saying no is hard to tell the person why. It's just like the no and the reason behind it.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, but more or less, you know, I only can speak from my personal experience. My reason behind saying no is just I don't want to hurt the other person. You know what I mean? You know,
That's not a good reason to not
no,
say
no, no.
no,
I
though.
agree that
Yeah.
I'm 100. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
For sure, it's not a good reason to not say no, and that's exactly why I'm bringing it up. I'm telling you not to do that. You know what I mean? I'm sure that definitely plays a part for some people. I've never really experienced that because I, truth be told, like at least over this last years in life, I really don't care how people feel about me. You know what I mean? So, uh, yeah, I'm sure it's tough for some people. Do you think that's the case for you? Do you think you kind of struggle with like that part?
I think I've struggled with saying no. Yeah, definitely. Because like you said before, you don't want to disappoint the person. I think
Mm,
it's a myriad of reasons, but you don't want to disappoint the person who's asking you to do whatever, be wherever, who's inviting you wherever. You
mm,
don't want to let them down. But then it's also like this like reasons that we make up in their head that if I say no, they're going to think I don't like them. Or if I say no, I'm going to
yeah.
miss out on this work opportunity. Like this work
Mm,
opportunity is never going to come again. So I should say
mm-hmm.
yes. I think a lot of it is the fear of missing out. And I also think
Oh no.
it's just, yeah, it's FOMO and it's just us not wanting to let people down. But we should not be prioritizing letting someone down over our mental well-being.
Yeah. Depending on what
That's
they're asked for, depending what
yeah,
they're asking for as well.
yeah,
Because if they're asking for something, you know, big, then maybe you need to, you know what I mean? You know,
right,
it depends on the ask. Some asks are bigger than others, whatever.
yeah. And also too, like I know I've like people will like invite. I know I've like been invited somewhere, and then later on I might like change my mind. And I'm like, hey, no, I don't want to come anymore.
Mhm.
When I really didn't want to come in the first place, but I felt like I should just say yes because I should. But sometimes people take that personally, and then they just like don't want to invite you out anymore.
Yeah,
So
that's the one thing I've
sometimes
never had problems saying no to,
yeah,
the
sometimes it's
invite.
like the saying yes, it can be more harmful than just saying no because
Absolutely.
it's like now you seem flaky. Like
Hmm.
we be inviting her out and then she don't come.
She'll never
But
come.
I didn't want to come in the first place, so I should have just said no.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that as an introvert. That's the part I feel like I knew myself into oblivion because I said no to so many events that I just don't even get invited to anything anymore, and I'm okay with that. So, uh, yeah, I feel you. The pressure, the power of no is definitely balanced by the pressure of saying yes. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you have to have a strong no so that way when you say yes, people know you really mean it.
Mean it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
For
that's
sure.
kind of where I'm at right now. Like I said, I feel like my no has gotten stronger since I entered my 30s.
Girl, you
Because
definitely
I've,
tell me no all the time.
well,
I'm
yeah,
like, do you love me? You be like, nah,
shut up, fool. I don't be
not
saying
today.
that. But I think that just comes with learning to set boundaries, just in professional relationships and personal relationships, with your
What
friends, with your
boundaries?
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you do it as just an individual, it bleeds over to all facets of life, work, relationships, whatever, And do find that balance again. Do not know yourself into loneliness. Okay. Don't know yourself into oblivion. You can't say no too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just like with everything in life, it's just finding that sweet, sweet balance.
Why are some of the reasons you I think we have to also ask, why do we say no sometimes? Like, what is the reason behind saying no? Because I know sometimes when I've said yes, sometimes later on I say no because I'm like, I just need to just rest today. I just can't, I don't have
Yeah,
the
I mean that's
energy today
okay.
to do it.
What was the original question? I'm sorry. You said what are some reasons that we say no?
Yeah, what are some reasons that we say no? Because I think those reasons can be good or bad.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I mean, I've said no before the questions even like you have that no in your head before somebody even says anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've definitely had that, but honestly, I feel like the main part of why I say no is literally because I just can't help you with what you're asking for. You know what I mean? Like if I don't feel like I can contribute to what you're asking me for, I'm going to tell you no. You know what I mean? Whether that's financial or personal advice, I might not have the piece of personal advice that you want. So you might be coming to me for advice, but I might be like, I just can't help you because I can't help you with that. There's multitude of reasons. But for me, it's usually because I I can't offer you help in this situation that you're asking me for.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's a good reason to say no. Don't
Yeah.
say, yeah, say no if you're not going to be resourceful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sometimes I feel like that's the only reason why I would probably say no is that I'm just not a good resource for what you're asking me for. And then, like you said, if you are continuously just asking, and then I'm going to say no. So,
Right. Yeah,
yeah, for
then you're
sure.
just exhausted.
Yeah.
I was reading something that Warren Buffett said, the billionaire businessman, and he was saying that successful people say no to almost everything. Saying no allows you to say yes to what's really important to you. And I
I
was
mean,
just like, yeah, you
so
do have to
facts.
say no. You can't spread yourself thin.
And honestly, that's the truth in life. You get told no way more than you get told yes in life. I mean, if you
Right.
want to be real,
Right.
uh, yeah, I mean, that's life. you know?
Yeah, that's life, but also just from to speak to what he said, successful people say no to almost everything because it's like when you're trying to accomplish things in life, and it can be something professional, it can be something personal. And I mean, anything from like, working on your marriage to starting a business, like whatever it is that you're working on at the time, you have to say no to stuff so that you can work on what really matters to you.
Absolutely. You
So I
gotta,
think
yeah.
that's something that I have had to learn because, I think before I used to be like, oh, well, I'm a generous person. But really looking back, maybe I was generous sometimes, but then sometimes I'm like, no, I was just a person who didn't have boundaries, actually.
That doesn't make you ungenerous. It's just you need to learn your boundaries. That's still generosity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you're ungenerous. But yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. You just need to, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But to the Warren Buffett thing, yeah, for sure. kind of, that's something that I'm also going through with right now, is just, just balancing work life with podcast balance now. I had a friend call me the other day, was like, man, like, I really just can't get in contact with you no more. I'm like, I just don't have the time to be on the phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough. It is
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. And I think that's, like you said, it's just kind of a part of what happens, I think, when you're just trying to build things. You're
Yeah,
not going to be as,
you don't have time, man.
yeah, you might not
People,
be as reachable as you were when you're not working on stuff, whatever that thing is.
and it doesn't have anything to do with the people individually. It's just, life, man. There's only but so many hours in a day. And then still at the end of the day, I need to be present for my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You still need to be present for yourself and for your circle, for the people
Yeah.
that matter to you the most.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, just can't do it. See you when I see you.
See you when I see you.
With much love and respect.
Yeah. I think it's just, I think what I have learned most from this journey that I'm still on, you really just, it's about honesty, and you just have to be honest with yourself and honest with other people about how you really feel
Yeah.
in order to have boundaries, and
And
in
people
order
need to
to just,
respect that too.
yes, people
Like
need
people
to,
need to
yeah,
respect when people set boundaries and you're being truthful with them. You
yeah.
can't, yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's okay. Yeah. And you, even just adding on to adding that on to what I said, it is your own personal responsibility to make sure that people respect your honesty and respect your boundaries. And if
Mhm.
they don't, you know, you don't have to deal with them anymore.
I
It's
won't
like,
say peace out, but like
maybe it's not the
reconsider.
best,
It's probably
but
time to move differently, is what I would say. I don't want to go with instantly, with just like cut everybody off instantly if they're not doing what you want them to do. But you know what I mean? But
well, it's not about them not doing what you want them to do. It's
yeah,
about them
yeah.
not respecting your boundaries. And yeah, I'm on that
That's
energy.
what I
If
was
you don't
gonna say.
respect my boundaries, deuces to you.
Yeah. I mean, that is one of those things that, it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It's not up for negotiation. If you cannot respect me the same way that I respect you.
No, I mean, yeah. And like you said, maybe it's not the healthiest thing to cut people off if they're not respecting your boundaries.
No, I
Maybe,
mean, no. See, look,
but I
that's
feel
where I
like,
feel like it is healthy. If they're disrespecting your boundaries, then yeah. But people take that and be like, oh, this person sneezed in front of me, cut them off.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's balance again.
Yeah, it's balance, how you said. And I think depending on the relationship, there's definitely people I've cut off over these past 2 years because I'm just done. But I think
Yeah.
also depending on the relationship or the friendship, whatever that is, I do think compromise, to speak to what you said, compromise is necessary in some situations. Like,
Compromise is important in every relationship,
yeah,
in any
exactly.
ship, period. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think boundaries and compromise go hand in hand in some situations. So yes, that is something also I'm learning is compromise. Because yeah, you can't just cut everybody off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you can't know know yourself into loneliness.
Right.
The
Right.
same thing.
Yeah. It's not healthy to just cut everyone off.
Yeah, you will be sitting here with you and your computer,
Yeah,
speaking into the microphone to yourself, which
exactly.
is not a good idea. Yeah, I'll still be with you though.
I appreciate it. Thank you. We're stuck together for life at this point.
I'm playing.
It's messed up.
No.
Thank you everyone so much for being here. Make sure that you subscribe to our page to stay up to date with what we have going on. You can follow us at On Our Days Off on Instagram. You can subscribe to our YouTube page On Our Days Off, and you can catch us every other Friday, like I said before, on listening platforms if you're listening, or on our YouTube page if you are watching. Thank you so much for being here.
Peace, guys.
We'll see you next time. Live well and take care. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. You can catch us every other Friday if you enjoyed our content. If you're watching, you can catch us on our YouTube page at On Our Days Off. If you're listening, you can catch us on listening platforms such as Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.